What is up? Welcome back to What's Poppin' in Design, where we keep you informed of anything that's new and hot and interesting in the design world. We've got some crazy stories for you tonight, from crazy AI to crazy logo redesigns. Let's dive right into it. So the first thing I want to share with you is this new thing coming up from OpenAI. And OpenAI is basically the people who are building the most powerful AI that's in the world right now, which is called GPT-3. And in general, what they've did here is they've created an algorithm that you can write text and it will generate an image for you. So check this out. They've written an armchair in the shape of avocado, and the algorithm has just created that stuff for it. Or they wrote a storefront that has the word OpenAI written on it, and it just created a bunch of images. And you can see here, and I suggest you click the link later to check this out. They've just basically showed you how many images the algorithm was able to create from one prompt. In this case, let's say a pentagonal green clock, or green clock in the shape of a pentagon. And this is just crazy. And they have so many examples here of things that really look like photographs, but were actually created by the AI. I'm, in a way, super excited. Think about all the time that you're wasting in looking for stock imagery. You could just type it out. And even if this photo was never created, the algorithm is going to create it for you. I think that's really interesting for designers. Also, it's a little bit scary because people can put Ron in a photo of Ron killing somebody. So it's a little bit creepy. However, I do think that it's probably going to be super useful for designers. Right now, we can't actually use this, but it looks like very promising. Another thing that was interesting this week, Google Design has published a blog post of all things that are interesting design-wise that Google did this year. And there are a lot of things that are really interesting projects here. So I do recommend you going and checking that out. I mean, Google has, we mostly know Google from the Google search or Google products that we use, but they have such a huge Google Arts and Culture and Creative Lab, and they're doing really crazy projects, and there's really a lot of interesting experimental projects that they're working on, and they're sharing a lot of them here from you, from experimental projects showing how glaciers are melting, or things in the sea. They're doing a bunch of really interesting projects, so I do encourage you to see what they're working on. It's really interesting. All right, into the redesign. So the CIA has announced a new logo redesign and a website redesign. And of course, Twitter and the world likes to be critical and trash other people's design. Like the CIA has been rebranded as a modular synthesizer festival in Berlin. But to be honest, that's their new website, and it's actually pretty cool. I mean, if you look at, I've brought back the old website from the Wayback Machine, and this is the old website. And I think we've actually made, a video on this channel where we did a redesign. I tried to redesign their website because it was really old-fashioned, very confusing. And when you think about this, and I actually went ahead and read in the article here that we're going to link below in Fast Company, because it is interesting. You always have to ask yourself, why did they go ahead and rebrand it? What did they have to solve for, right? What was their problem here? And their problem is recruitment. They need to recruit top talent. They have to, fight against companies like Google and Facebook that are hiring the top engineers and, scientists in the world. And the CIA wants to hire the same people. So they can't look old-fashioned. They have to look in part. They have to be cool. They have to be up to date. So from that perspective, branding is cool, black, wide, trendy fonts like that. I do think that it's a fantastic redesign if you take into context who they're aiming for and what are they trying to do here. I think this is actually a pretty cool website, and this is pretty solid. I mean, so that's my opinion. I actually have never seen this circular thing here. I mean, I see the CIA mark when you're just scrolling here. You see this here as a mark. I haven't seen it in the circle like they've shown it here. But I do think that it's way more powerful, up to date, and it's definitely way better than this. So way to go. I'm not really sure who designed the website or logo, but it's pretty good. Another logo redesign is Kia, the car manufacturer, Korean car manufacturer, has redesigned its logo to this. What I've read here in the article is that the reason that they were doing it is that this looks more like a handwritten or maybe personal signature type of thing. From my perspective, it looks a little less readable. So I'm not really sure if this is KVI or KIA or KN. I'm not really sure. It's pretty confusing where it's all connected together. It is, I do agree that so many car manufacturers have, the circular elliptical thing. And so if you're trying to break away from looking like everybody else, it is probably a good direction. At the end of the day, this is kind of a logo mark, so all it needs to be is recognizable. So it's probably going to be okay. From my perspective, it's a little less readable, but yeah, all right, whatever. The last thing that I want to share with you is this kind of like interesting tidbit here from web development history. And this is only if you're nerding about the history of web development, but I found this really cool. There's an article here about the birth of JavaScript and how it was actually invented by the people at Netscape. I don't know if I've been at 1995 using Netscape, so I've been there. And it's so interesting. They actually show a screenshot of an email here from Mark Andreessen, who was the founder of, Netscape, and then turned into like a legendary VC investor. Andreessen Horowitz is one of the most famous kind of investment funds in the world, actually suggesting the image tag for image in HTML. So check out this email. I'd like to propose a new optional HTML tag, image, required argument, source equals URL. I mean, this is just like mind-blowing, because for us people who build websites, this is like the most basic tag. I mean, of course you'll need images on the website, and if you've ever kind of learned HTML, or this is like the first thing that you learned is how to bring in an image, and it's amazing to see the actual email. Like in 1993, it wasn't obvious, it wasn't existed. Everything is kind of new in the world of web design. So if you want to geek out a little bit, you can read this story for some more interesting tidbits. That was my week. Let me know in the comments below what happened in design that got you excited, and we'll see you on the next episode. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe and all that stuff, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.